There he is. Mr. Daniels, how are you?
I'm Java John. I'm sitting here drinking tea. Is that all right?
That's fine by me.
Still got caffeine in it, right?
Things are different.
Oh, yeah.
Things are different. I'm down to one shot of espresso a day, and that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my gosh. Well, if you can get by on it, that's okay.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. And you?
I'm doing great. It's a real pleasure to have a chance to chat with you here.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. First off, I want to tell you happy birthday.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate that.
That's how this all came together. It was originally I called your offices hoping to wish you happy birthday a couple weeks ago, and they told me you were off in China. And we were on a little trip. We actually did concerts we did a concert in Japan and 5 in Korea. Wow.
And my wife always wanted to see the Great Wall of China, and it's only a couple of hours flight from Seoul, Korea, up to Beijing. So we thought, what a better time to spend a few days, doing the touristy sort of thing. So our son met us in Beijing, and we spent a few days looking around.
Excellent. That is great. That just sounds like so much fun. And
it was.
When I just wanted to tell you that when I did call your offices, I want to thank yourself and your offices. You've got a real sweet organization there, a real bunch of kind folks, and they were very
well. Thank you.
Accommodating.
Thank you for acknowledging them. They are a bunch of nice, fine folks. Most of them have been with me a long time. I've got people in the office that have been with me for over 25 years.
Yeah. Well, if I was there, I wouldn't go nowhere.
It's a pretty good place to work. We all like each other pretty well.
Oh, that's good. We had the pleasure of seeing you play here in town in Cocoa last Friday night, and again, you astound me in the fact that first time I saw you in concert was almost exactly 30 years to the day in the dreaded Hollywood Sportatorium, and every time I see you, you just keep getting better and better.
Well, thank you. So it's a whole lot better to do it that way than just go back the other way, isn't it?
That's for sure. That's for sure.
I love what I do. I just thank God I can make a living doing something that I enjoy as much as I do this. I really thoroughly enjoy it, and I just, I don't have people say, "What are you going to retire?" No, I don't have anything better to do. I don't have anything that I want to do more than I do play music. I don't work for a company that has a mandatory retirement, so I'm, as long as it's good Lord's will and people want to hear me, I'll be out here picking and grinning.
Right on. Yeah, that was one of my questions there, because I figured, if you're not out there doing it for us, you'd be sitting on the porch doing it anyhow, wouldn't you?
That's right.
So
That's right.
You might as well. I tell you, I've been running into folks all week long that caught you out there in Cocoa last week, and all the reviews are great as ever. So they sure love you down here in this town.
Well, we love coming down here. I made a statement on stage. I don't know if most people got it or not, but Taz, the keyboard player, myself, played in Cocoa Beach at a place. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was oh gosh, we played there. What was it? Probably back in the 60s somewhere, 63, 64,
wow.
Somewhere along in there. We played there quite a bit through the years.
What was it, directly in Cocoa Beach, or was it in Cape Canaveral?
No, it was in Cocoa Beach. It was right down about a block from the ocean. I should be. It was named after. It was everything in town was at that time was named after a space thing, a satellite, or the Saturn, or the this or that or the other thing. And it was one of those names, and I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was one of those space related names, and it was right there on the right up from the beach there. We used to play there. I went there pretty often. I went there to play there 2 or 3 times.
Could it have been the Atlantis Beach Lodge?
No, this is back before you were born, son.
Oh, yeah.
you were probably kicking the slats out of your cradle about the time that we did that.
I was about to.
It was early 60s, or approaching middle 60s, somewhere along in there.
Here we're coming up on that commercial break time I was telling you about. So we're going to take a short break here, and when we come back, more with Charlie Daniels. Thanks for being here, sir.
My pleasure, my friend. Have a God on Acoustic Record on tropicwaveradio.net.
All right. Thank you, Charlie.
My pleasure, my friend.
Let's see here. Okay. So, during the commercial break there, I was chatting with Charlie, and I mentioned, the first time I saw Charlie in concert, you opened up for Eric Clapton. at this hellhole, if I can call it, of the Hollywood Sportatorium, out in the middle of the Everglades, and then the next year you came back and you did you if I remember correctly, you were MC or hosting the Day for the Kids, which had you on the bill with Grinder Switch, who we knew the two of you, but nobody knew the guys that were coming up. And there was 3 bands that I remember in particular that we'd never heard of, was Molly Hatchet and Pat Travers Band and AC/DC. It was a heck of a night, man.
Well, it was, and that's there. I don't know how many bands I have worked with over the years, that we're just starting. Of course, I've been doing this so long, it's kind of obvious that I would. But how many bands I've worked with over the years that had started, just started out and that came on to be big bands, came on to be big artists.
Yeah,
it's kind of neat, really. It's kind of neat remembering when and that sort of thing, like you were just doing. That's a nice little memory,
Yeah. Yeah, it was for me. As I said, I've been to many, many shows, and that always stood out as one. And one of the things that really stood out to me was you laid back that night, and you were just kind of hanging back and playing with Grinder Switch. Play a couple of your tunes, but you mostly let the other guys come up front. And I thought that was special that night.
Well, that's I just enjoy playing with people and jamming with people. And back in that day, jamming was a big thing with us when we were all coming along. We used to play together with Marshall Tucker, and gosh, we used to end the night up with Marshall Tucker with 3 drummers on stage and just a whole slew of people, and we'd do some recognizable old song like "Will the Circle Be Unbroken" or something, and just jam out on it.
Yeah.
I kind of missed that. I think it's something that. I think it's a missing link in the music nowadays that people don't get to hear the kind of thing that the intermingling of different musical styles and different people make. I played with classical violinists. I played with Eugene Fodor one time, and I've done it a couple of times, in fact. We did Orange Blossom Special together, and Eugene in his way, and myself. He's a concert violinist, by the way, and me in my way, and it melds. It works out. I mean, it's I can't play what he plays, and he probably could play what I play, but he's devoted his life to doing something else. But he, put the two styles together, and it makes for something very special sometime. And that's a lot of the fun of getting out, getting on stage with different people and jamming. There's no telling where you're going to go with it. And that's one of the wonderful parts about live music.
Yes, sir. I think there is a little bit of a resurgence on the jam band circuit. They tend to get into it a little bit more, but it's not so mainstream. People aren't seeing it so much out in the mainstream market. But
right.
That's another thing that always struck me about your music. How there's always been that. Obviously, there would be a bluegrass influence, but the jazz influence that was in a lot of your earlier records, and the blues influences. It's great, and a lot of today I start seeing a lot of people pulling from different sources where we didn't see it so much when you were doing it. You were cutting edge there.
The thing is, I think it has a lot to do with the time that I came along, John. At the time, I came up in the little rural towns and the rural areas of North Carolina back in the day when there were radio stations were few and far between. A town may have one radio station, it may not. You may listen to the one over in the next town, but basically what their mandate was to try to play something for everybody in their audience because they were the only game in town. They were not formatted to play one kind of music as they are nowadays. So, they'd start out in the morning, they'd play some country music, and then they'd play when the housewives were working around the house, they'd play something pleasing to them, and then about 12, when the farmers would come in for lunch, they'd play some more country music, and then in the afternoon, when the kids were getting home from school, they'd play whatever the popular teenage music of the day was. So it used to be big band music, and it was, kind of early rock stuff, and then of course it's gone on into all kinds of different things now. But then when you're from the Southeast, you're absolutely going to be exposed to the blues and to gospel. So I got exposed to so many different kinds of music coming up that I think when I sat down to write, original music, it all just kind of found its way into my conscience.
Beautiful. Hey, speaking of songs, there was one last week when you played it, and I missed the title on it, but I was touched by it. You dedicated it, I believe, to grandchildren or to children in general? Do you know what you're talking?
Little folks are people too. Is that the one you're talking
Little
about?
folks are people too. What did that come off of?
That's a song I wrote years ago, and actually where it started, it was some people did a video and wanted me to do the music to it. And basically, what it was a story about ranch life, and it was showing different facets of ranch life. It was still photos, and I narrated it and did the music. And one of the scenes was kids standing there, just kind of standing in, poses, kicking a tire or something. I don't know, but I love kids. I'm just crazy about children, and the theme popped in my mind. Little folks are people too. Very much like me and you, the little things they say and do kind of make your day. And just kind of wrote this song about, kids in general, what they're about and how they act and that sort of thing. And it's an old song. It's one I did many years ago. And once in a while, when I feel the time is right to do it, and we have a very family-type audience, I'll pull it out and do it.
Nice. We had our 9-year-old with us that night, and he very much enjoyed the show too.
Well, good.
He's gotten ahead. His namesake was Dylan, and I know you worked with Bob Dylan early in your career, and I had the opportunity to take him to see Bob this year too. So, he's ahead of me by a few years.
Well, Bob's another survivor. He's still out here doing it, but Bob just continues to reinvent himself over and over, and that's just. That just shows you the magnitude of the man's talent, that very few people can do that. Usually somebody finds a style, and they have to hang on to it, basically. But Dylan, Nashville Skyline, to me, was a vast departure from anything he'd ever done before.
Yes, sir.
And he stayed there for a couple of albums with Self-Portrait and Nashville Skyline, and then he went right on into New Morning and went right on in another direction.
Yep.
And he continues to do that. You never know what he's going to do,
Yeah.
And, I have so much admiration for the man. He's just he's a truly great artist that probably had more to do with the changing of popular music, the trends in popular music in the world, actually, than basically anybody I know of when it comes down to creating it. He was a great artist. He is a great artist.
Amazing couple years for him these past few too. Gotten his hands into a lot of stuff and
and deservedly so.
Oh yeah, the book is amazing. I don't know if you read the book yet, but it's great.
I have read the book.
Very nice. But enough about Bob. I got about 8 more minutes here till my next segment. Do you have that much time left?
Well, I'm supposed to have another interview on the 25 till, so I got about probably 3 minutes or something.
Okay.
I hate to rush you, but they line these things up for me on a Friday, and I do one after the other.
I appreciate it. That's fine. Maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Anytime you want to, you give our publicist a call, and we'll get right back on with you.
Thank you. Tell me real quick then about this disc coming up that's of duets.
Yeah, well, I have in the can so far, I have Bonnie Bramlett, Brenda Lee, Dale McCory Band, which is bluegrass, Travis Tritt, Earl Scruggs and his 2 sons. We did Maggie's Farm, a Bob Dylan song.
Nice.
We got, who else we got? Gretchen Wilson, Brad Paisley, who's a heck of a guitar player. And Brad and Stevie Ray Vaughan's old band, Double Trouble, came out and we did an instrumental together. And we got about 7 things so far in the can, and we're still working. We got about 5 or 6 more to cut.
Excellent.
We're kind of taking our time with it. Won't get it out for sometime next year.
Very good. I'll look forward to that. I know you got to get on to your next gig there. So I want to thank you very much for calling in with me and chatting with me today, and for all the hospitality from yourself and your offices there. And
I enjoyed talking to you, John. You know what I'd like to do sometime? You're very knowledgeable when it comes to music. Maybe sometimes we could set up, because I have also very deep feelings about music and pretty well acquainted with not so much the newer stuff, but the stuff about the Dylan, the Clapton, the Beatles or Stones, those sorts of bands in the late 60s and early 70s. Maybe one of these days we can do, if you'd like, just do an interview and just talk about music.
Yeah, man.
About just certain artists, and not my music necessarily, but other people's music. I enjoy those conversations, and I'm suspicious that have a suspicion that you're a man that could really get very deeply involved in it. And you seem to feel a lot of the same way about music as I do, and seem to like a lot of it. So we could have a very good discussion. Maybe if you'd like, we'll set that up one of these days.
Yes, sir. I'm all over that.
All right, buddy.
All right. Hey, let me invite the folks out there to dial up charliedaniels.com.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Daniels, I thank you again for being here, and we will talk to you soon.
John, it's been a pleasure. God bless
Same
you.
here.
Thank
You too, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. How cool was that? Chatting with Mr. Charlie Daniels live on the air. And you can bet that I'll be dialing up his office next week, making arrangements for that chat.